G'day there, jerk-offs. That's right, g'day. Proper Australian greeting because I am back in Australia. I was going to say the motherland, but Australia is definitely not the motherland if you are a white person. No chance. But yeah, I'm back, man. I'm back in Australia. I got back last Thursday. I flew in, double middle seat on the flight in, 22 hours in the middle seat. That's a pretty grim little scenario if you're a 6'2" person, as I am, but I made it. Got straight in, had a couple of gigs already. Been hanging out in Newcastle, Canberra, and Sydney, and still found some time to get this intro happening so you guys can still get another dose of the Union Jack Off. Today's guest is Ray Badran, who is another Sydney comedian. I thought, I'm back in Sydney. I may as well get a Sydney guest. Get someone from Sydney involved. Ray is one of those dudes. When I started doing comedy, he was already kind of emceeing, headlining, and he's done pretty much everything you can do in Australian comedy, really. He's like right at the top. He's written for a bunch of stuff. He's had his own show on Comedy Central. He's like just always at the Comedy Store in Sydney. He's just like part of the furniture there, to the point where he plays Santa at the Christmas shows. He's not too many years older than me, but yeah, he's just always been one of those guys, man. But he moved across to London probably a year before I went, and I was excited to kind of have a chat to him, just bend his ear, see if he was planning on staying. Like a lot of people, I think, Canada, Australia, South Africa, those places with smaller comedy scenes, they go to the UK as very much a kind of professional thing. Like they're like, I want to further my career, so the best way to do that is to go to the UK. Whereas with Ray, he was doing very well here, but he still went. So I was curious to see whether it was like more of his personal life rather than his professional life. I know he's got a wife. Maybe that was the factor, I just wanted to figure that out. And I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to him about that. I think he's always one of those guys that pays more attention to things than most people. Those people are just kind of the kind of people who find money on the ground. They're just like, they're taking it in. Like those people that are always like, oh, that's $2 over there, and you would never even have noticed. He's one of those dudes. But yeah, man, it's weird. It's weird being home. Like, and it's funny. Like, I thought maybe like the accents thing, or like just the kind of nature would be the stuff that was a bit confronting when I came home. But, the accents, I find them adorable in a way that I didn't really before, but that's cool. That makes me feel comfortable. The nature and stuff I've just actually found really nice. Like, you just kind of breathe in the air and you're not breathing in all this other shit. It's just air, which is kind of like a nice little change from London, where people wear those like face masks and stuff when they cycle. So like, yeah, it's like just there's a lot of air to breathe in because there's not many people here. And that's the thing that's really kind of, I guess, like creeped me out. I don't know. When I walk around, there's just not enough people. I just kind of look in front of me and I look behind me, and there's just open streets. And like, I'm not walking around during peak hour. Like, don't get the wrong idea. Like, this is probably like later at night than a lot of people are out. Or, potentially like the middle of the day where like people are at work or whatever. But it's just, even driving, it's just like a bit strange to, the traffic kind of flows through. There's not a lot of other cars on the road. And just not enough people. There's plenty of people. Like, if you don't know, Sydney's population is 5 to 6 million. It's definitely spread out, but the CBD must have at least 3. But you're just kind of coming from Shoreditch in London. You're just like, there should be more people here. Why is no one brushing past me? Why am I not brushing past anybody? Why can't I hear any people yelling in the street? It kind of seems like they're playing a prank on me. That's how it's going down in my head at the moment. I'm like, there are all these people here, but they've like kind of ducked inside because something terrible is about to happen. Or like they're just kind of pranking me, like they're all around and they're just kind of hiding, waiting for me to trip or something. It's a bit weird. I don't know. It might just be the jet lag. It might just be the lack of sleep that is making me think like that. But yeah, definitely, I just keep expecting there to be more people, and I keep getting slightly concerned when there isn't. I'm worried about it. But don't get me wrong, it's nice. Like, not having to brush past people, not having to dodge people, not have anyone just bump into you. That's one of the things in London. Just people just bump into you. And it's no issue. Like, it's no issue at all. But, you know, I'm back. I'm back and enjoying it. The food is so much better. I really thought I was maybe building it up in my head. But not just the food. Just kind of has that flavor. It's great. And the one thing is like the water, man. I don't know how people go with like tap water. I know some places tap water is dangerous. I know other places like you probably wouldn't really think about it, or maybe just don't drink a lot of water. But honestly, if you've never been to Sydney, or if you have been to Sydney, just think back to the Sydney tap water. It is the best. It just tastes fresh. I don't know what it is. I know there's some fluoride in there. Maybe it's, you know, a factor. But just for me, coming home, drinking tap water, I've been going hard on the water, going hard on the hydration, just because it feels great, it tastes great, and that's the one thing when I'm like, I'm home. More so than seeing my family, more so than seeing my dog. That tap water, man, something about it. It's like you are back in Sydney, man. Check out this beautiful, clean water. None of that weird, cloudy, hard water stuff like in London. When I first got there, man, that freaked me out because, like, I don't know if you haven't lived there, like in some suburbs, and I think Shoreditch is one of them, you're supposed to like kind of run the water for a little bit before you fill up your water because there's like stuff that has to clear through the pipes because the pipes in London are older than the country of Australia, at least the country of Australia that I'm aware of, you know? But yeah, in Sydney, it's all like fresh plumbing, plenty of water, plenty of clean water. And it's great. It just feels good. Anyway, I don't want to make this intro too long just because I want to get to the episode. I'm tired. But though I do just want to talk about one thing that we covered in the last episode with Lisa. We're trying to figure out really why rugby wasn't popular in India, whereas cricket was. You know, like as a Commonwealth country, like rugby in India are kind of the package deal. And we were like, well, India doesn't play rugby. What's with that? And a friend of mine got in touch. He was listening. He was like, mate, what are you talking about? India plays rugby. India's played rugby for ages, as you'd expect. And I looked it up, and it was bang on. Apparently, the first match in India happened in 1871. Yeah, that's how long ago India was playing rugby. And they're still playing now. They're playing competitively. They're not one of the top teams in the world. They're not in the top tier league. They're not in the World Cup, but they are attempting to qualify. In 2007, they got pretty close. So they're trying to get up there. They play rugby, just probably not as well as they play cricket, which would be kind of difficult considering they're the best cricket team around, really, you'd have to say. It's definitely like the most popular sport there, so even if their first team isn't necessarily on top of the rankings, their second and third teams will be stronger than any second and third teams out of any of the other countries in the world. You look at the Indian Premier League, the T20 there, like most of the best players are Indian. They have the imports to give it a bit of an international flavour, but the bones of all those teams are Indian players who'd slip into most of the other teams around the world. And that got me thinking, why did they get around cricket so much? And my mate had the answer right there for me. Apparently, Gilly Danda is an amateur sport that used to be played in India. That's Gilly Danda, Gillidanda. That was an amateur sport that's always been popular in India, with origins over 2,500 years ago. So it's been going around a while, and that bears a fair similarity to cricket. So when the British people were like, hey, we got this game cricket, you guys probably going to enjoy it. Indian people were like, well, fuck yeah. We've actually been nailing a sport just like this for ages. So there you go. Just complete oversight from me. And Lisa, I want to throw Lisa under the bus as well. But that's the answer. India has played rugby for a very long time. They're not quite as good at it as some other nations, but they still play. And the reason they are so good at cricket is because it was similar to something they already played. So, yeah, that's probably why they got around it. There you go. Mystery bloody solved. Anyway, let's get this chat going. Ray Badran, a man who, when I came to London, started telling me how good the food delivery service was. That was the first thing out of his mouth. So now I'm chatting to him about it. Ray Badran, funny, funny man. Here we go. Enjoy. Profiteroles.
Profiteroles are different to profiteries.
They're not, but there's nothing's called profitery. That's a fake word.
Maybe.
See, the thing is, like, we had your fantastic juice story, and then we've started recording after the juice story.
You said it wasn't recording.
But now it's happened. Now we've started.
Well, from now.
Yeah.
From this point on.
No, like about 17 seconds ago.
Before profiteries.
Just at profiteries. That's when everybody's like,
oh, right.
Let's hear two Australian people discuss Dutch
I
pancakes.
think profiteries is a word.
I mean, I'm not going to say
I'm going to look it up online now.
Look it up online. This is turning into like a Joe Rogan podcast where it's like, bring that up, get that on the screen, profiteries.
I don't listen to podcasts, so I don't know. No, and I don't not listen to podcasts in a sense of like, oh, I won't listen to podcasts. But
a lot of people are ready to jump down your throat there for trying to be alternative.
I'm not alternative. I say I'm preferencing that it's not an alternative way. It's in a fucking old person way, I suppose. I'd like to listen to podcasts. There's too many out there now, so I don't know. I get recommended ones every now and then. I listen to that, and I quite like them, but not
on the regular. You're not going out there foraging, finding your own podcasts.
I wouldn't know how to. So
profiteries? Well,
see, they're like the Dutch one. It's got a J in it. It's like
But that's just Dutch. You just chuck
Poffer
it.
de Jez. No, it's Poffer de Jez or whatever. I'm sure I'm not saying that right, but it's a fucking different word.
Oh, puff. Yeah, shit, you're absolutely right.
I was absolutely right.
It's perfetted.
Like most things in life, I am correct about it, but I undersell it, and then it comes across as incorrect. Because
the Ray Badran technique, being right, but seeming wrong.
I owned one of these fucking pancakes. Yeah, I know.
You bought yourself a little Dutch pancake maker.
Yeah.
From Kmart.
Yeah.
What about here? Are you making any frivolous purchases here? I think the kitchens are too small.
A lot of frivolous purchases. I got you on. I know I got you on the. I recommended you as a user to Ocado. Groceries delivered.
Everyone's going to think this is like a podcast commercial that we're doing, but yes, you recommended me to Ocado.
Yeah, but you see my stand-up. A lot of it is fucking product placement, I suppose.
You can really sell out pretty easily, I think.
I mean, I've sold out without even anyone giving me the money. I'm doing so many ads. Fucking Subway sandwiches. All of the cunts are getting money from me.
You do name drop them as well. You do do the brand name. Like, you don't just say
it's a Seinfeld thing, you know? Like, it's a Larry David thing. Like, he does like bits on chocolate bars and stuff like that, and like I quite like it.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean that's true. You want to get specific with the brand. I think that's part of it, because you're not talking because you're talking about Subway sandwiches in relation to imperial measurements, and it's like it's got to be Subway.
Yeah,
like you're not learning it any other way.
No, I'd like to just I want to Well, it's also you just want to fucking do it as if you're having a chat with a mate, and so if you're having a chat with a mate, you can't be like, mate, I went to a restaurant the other day, redacted. For, I don't want to promote them, so you know.
Do you know, like, I think if you ever release something, you got to get clearance on that. I think you got to.
I think so. Yeah, there's copyright reasons. Oh, maybe not. I'm sure. I don't know the law, but I'm sure if it's not slander, there's some ways. There's fucking.
No, like,
there's millions of stand-ups I've heard like them doing shit.
No. Sorry, actually, I do know this because I just went through this, and like you don't have to like ask Subway. But you have to give it to a lawyer, and they have to be like, I think Subway will be cool with it. They have to kind of think about what Subway would think.
I think it depends where it's for, too. Like, I think,
what, the ABC?
Well, the ABC, you can't have any brands on there. You can't, I mean, it might be different in a stand-up sense, of course, but like when you do radio and stuff, you can't
even mention a brand.
No, and I've fucked up so many times, all the time. Like, start talking about McDonald's and shit.
Well, I mean, that's your thing. You talk about brands. Like,
yeah, I'm not so much my thing to talk about brands, but I don't want to make it a thing, but yes, I do talk about brands a bit.
Mention it. I mean, but it's good though. I think like yours is a good voice to mention a brand, you know, because like it's a relatable talking to your mate voice, so it doesn't sound like if I was to say.
I like that you said my voice is relatable.
Yeah, it's good. I like your voice. It's very comforting.
Oh, that's very kind of you. It's funny.
No, like if I say Subway sandwiches, everyone's like, someone paid him to say that because it's just kind of said as like the full thing.
Yeah.
And yours is like, yeah, Subway sandwiches. Like no one gives a shit.
Subway sandwiches, yeah.
Well,
I mean, I feel like I've promoted them too much now. So let's take them down a notch and remember that they're fucking run by a big fat pedophile. Sorry. Go on.
He just lost weight, man. He's not the CEO.
He lost weight. Oh, it was a skinny pedophile.
Yeah, he was a fat pedophile.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he was a pedophile when he was fat.
He was a pedophile.
I don't know when he was fat. I don't know when the pedophilia came in.
Oh, it definitely would have been when he was fat.
You're saying like all pedophiles start at a fat thing. I mean,
well, I don't want to get into this too
yeah, look,
much.
I think we should just get back to talking about the delicious sandwiches at Subway.
What does cause pedophilia? It's a good question. Obviously, an unnatural sexual upbringing of some sort. And, well, you know, it's rife in the church system where they're not allowed to have sex. And they're not necessarily fat. So I wouldn't say... I
haven't seen a fat priest, in fairness. I've never seen a fat priest. Have you?
Nah, that's...
Or a fat nun? Never seen a fat nun.
No, they're just they're in wafer biscuits, mate. How are they going to put on wafer that? Little wafers. Cut down at the wall. I'd cut down at the blood of Christ.
Yeah, just on the wafers. You got to get those wafers up.
Can't put on weight in the body of Christ,
Get a thicker wafer.
Jesus was in shape.
Can I get the body of Christ with like a flake or something? Just something in there to beef it up a bit.
A flake, but it's a savoury with a sweet. You'd want cheese on a wafer like that, you know?
I like dip.
Yeah,
Can you imagine?
Dip, but not a flake.
Yeah, a flake. Look, a flake was a horrible option.
It was a fucking insane option. Like, I'm trying to work it out. You're just placing a chocolate bar on top of a wafer biscuit. And, yeah.
I mean, a flake is my go-to as an add-on. Like, because it's like, would you like to add a...
Yeah, totally. For like ice cream, throw it on the top. Cake, yeah, sprinkle it out there.
Yeah.
Flakes are fucking absurd chocolate when you think about it, though. Like, they've got a regular chocolate and just shaved it and put into a bar.
But they've also aerated the middle. It's not just the shaving. They've, like, hollowed it out.
It's hard to eat. Chocolate bar names are quite interesting, too. I don't know enough about it, but there would have to be some sort of psychology around it. Seems one word seems to be the go-to.
One syllable, too. Flake.
Well, Snickers.
Oh,
you got two,
okay.
but like
Mars.
it's one word, and I don't know what it is
I think
exactly.
the syllable thing. I'm onto something here.
But they conjure a feeling of like fun, like out there, but they, without really necessarily doing it. I don't know how they do it. So Boost and Mars sort of both conjure the same feeling somehow, but they're two different words.
But flake is almost the opposite of that, because like a flake has negative connotations. You know, it's
flake's
not to something you're a flake. Like
flake
bad
is,
fish is flake. Like,
well, flake's just literally describing what it is. Flakes are chocolate.
Flakes are chocolate. But you're right.
But say Mars and Snickers, Boost, like Picnic. Picnic's Australian, but like
Picnic's good though. That's a good name. I read that.
Didn't take off globally. And
did they try to launch it?
I don't know if Picnic is over here. I don't think it is.
I've never seen a Picnic in the UK.
No,
not one. But they don't know what Moro bars are here either.
Moro bars, yeah. Well, most of the fucking world don't. It's just.
But they don't have favourites here. I thought favourites was like a global thing.
They do have favourites.
They have favourites?
Celebrations. I've seen it. I fucking got to try write material in fucking Sainsbury's.
Yeah, there is no one better than you to have on this show about stuff like this. Just
chocolate.
Like, no, like where certain brands appear, what the slight variation in names is. This is
the
your,
chocolate's
like,
different over here. You know that?
What do you mean?
The chocolate's different here. Like, so you get a Mars bar in Australia, Mars bar here, and it's different. And it's because the chocolate has, like, obviously with a higher temperature in Australia, there has to be put something in the chocolate to make it have like less of a melting point.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, it does, yeah. So I remember when I was at uni learning about like when chocolate melts. you know when you're in Australia, I say, okay, here's the test.
No. Just because you're like, when I was at uni and I was learning about when chocolate melts, and I'm like, that is a specific fucking course.
We were learning something in chemistry. It must have been in chemistry, right? But it was about how when chocolate melts, and I think this might only apply to Australia because of the melting point thing, or maybe it applies everywhere. But you notice in Australia, you get a chocolate, right? It melts in your car, you take it inside, you put it in the freezer, and you eat it again. It tastes different than how it would have, right? Even though it's sort of restored back to its form.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so when it melts, it loses like a chemical element that was required for that. Well, not required, but was in it before. Yeah. And
that's evaporated.
Yeah,
that's not there anymore.
And so it tastes different. And I think the melting point is lower or some shit here. I don't know. The chocolate's different here. It's a bit more richer. I don't know what it is exactly how you describe it, and this is a known fact too. It's not me just saying it.
Not just you, sitting at home during the day.
Well, that's how it started.
Eating
I was
chocolate.
like, I fucking swear this Mars bar tastes better than a Mars bar at home. No, Turkish Delight was the one that got me. Turkish Delight, I was like, this tastes better than a fucking Turkish Delight back in Australia for some reason.
You can get a Turkish Delight here. See, I didn't realise cherry rights were Australian.
Are they Australian?
Yeah, I was just watching the AFL Grand Final and someone like whipped out the cherry ripe, being like, "Hey guys, little slice of back home," and I was like, I did not realize.
Yeah, no.
We were the ones that put cherry inside chocolate.
Well, it's weird like that. It's like when they like cherry ripe's Australian, and you feel like cherry inside chocolate is the least Australian thing there is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's more like it's a European thing for sure, Italian thing or some shit, you know?
Like Eastern Europe even. Like that's the thing. I'm thinking like Romania.
I think more Italian, like cherries and chocolate, you know, blah blah blah. That's French. Anyway,
French, yeah.
You know, that kind of Europe. But you know, they always do this shit in Australia though. Like McDonald's with the McColl's burger and fucking put beetroot on it. It's
that was a sweet move.
Oh, try fucking convince us all we've been eating beetroot. I eat every food. I don't mind beetroot, but there's no way fucking you're going to associate beetroot with being Australian. I would guarantee most Australians hate fucking beetroot. That most of them would go, no beetroot on my hamburger, please. Most of them would.
Can I get a McColl's without the beetroot?
Well, not the fucking McColl's because that's what makes it a McColl's.
No, but
like in a regular burger place, like a fish and chips takeaway shop, they would say opt.
Yeah, you'd be like, no. I used to do that when I was a kid. No beetroot, please.
Exactly. So I think if anything, the McColl's should be a beetrootless burger. You know, like it should be like an American burger with beetroot, but we've taken off the beetroot for Australia. And the other thing that's fucked, lamb being our national dish.
Yeah.
When they made that up, fuck off. Like, you know, like, well, yeah, we all eat lamb, but not more than anyone else. In fact, less than most other countries, probably less than New Zealand, less than over here, you'd say.
Way less than Greece.
Yeah.
Greece does a lot of lamb.
So, and it happens here too, like, you know.
But have you noticed the sausages here are all pork? There's no beef sausages.
There are beef sausages, but pork is the standard.
The standard, and they're worse. I think they are objectively worse over here.
I would almost 100% disagree with you.
Mate.
I mean, almost 100% disagree. But so it depends where you're getting sausages from. But they take.
I'm talking your shitty supermarket sausage.
I don't mean to sound too pompous, but would not eat them anywhere. Just because sausages are a dirty meat anyway. However, what they do have over here is they take a lot of pride in their sausage making. Like they
That's what confuses me about why their bottom range is so much lower than our bottom range.
I'll tell you why, and I reckon it's a lot of things. One, bigger population and bigger spread of people. So like bigger like socio-economic spread of people. That's why you've got shops that cater to like the low, very low end, and then you've got
like Iceland. We're talking Iceland.
Yeah, and then you've got the best shit in the world also available. You know, the standard is much lower as a standard. However, you can experience higher
highs, lower lows.
But I think you're almost there with the sausages. I mean, I think we agree to disagree here. Like maybe the lower end ones are shitter and Australians ones, but
the
you
higher
go to
end is
farmers markets. You go to some fucking shortage.
Well, you go to a butcher
thing around here. Go to some and.
Look, I'd agree with you with that, but like, all right. So, what do you reckon? You've been here. Let's give the quick little setup. Give some people some context, ladies and gentlemen. It's Ray Badran, fellow Sydney comedian. Finally,
I came over last year.
Last year, about a year before,
I came over last
mate.
year, but I wasn't here for most of last year. So then I've been here permanently since February this year. But I was back and forth last year. I really only probably spent about 3 months here last year.
Oh, right. Okay. So you kind of got a little jump on me, but like pretty much the same amount of time.
Yeah. It's,
roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so you're another comedian coming over here doing the comedy thing. So now let's get straight back into the spread of the supermarket. I like the supermarket spread. In Australia, what's your hierarchy of supermarkets?
Oh, well, I mean, sorry, if you're going to go ones that everyone knows, it's got to be probably what's the top? Harris Farm, would you say?
Harris Farm? I would definitely say Harris Farm's number one.
Harris Farm, Bondi Junction. I've heard there's one at Carriageways that's very good or whatever in like Glebe or some shit or somewhere.
Yeah, Glebe Westfield's got one at the bottom. Yeah. Glebe Broadway. It's called Broadway.
Somewhere like yeah. But that one. Yeah, that's good. I mean,
would you go Coles above Woolworths?
No, Woolworths above Coles every day of the week.
You are wrong from the bottom of my heart.
Mate, what do you got? What's Coles' slogan?
Coles' slogan: down, prices are down.
Okay, down, prices are down. Yes, good value for money at Coles. What's Woolworths' slogan?
The fresh food people.
Oh, so we can see who's focused on the mantra is focused on quality, and the other one's focused on financial profits, and it's all good, but
I mean, but I think Woolworths is just whenever I walk into a Woolworths, the food looks sadder than the food at Coles. I don't know if it's just like the displayed worse or something, but like it's. I don't know. I was next to both. I had like an option. I would never go to the Woolworths.
I'd have to say it's a colour scheme thing because they are set up almost identical.
I disagree. I think
They are. It's Sainsbury's, Tesco's. So, okay, would you think over here then Sainsbury's better or Tesco's better?
Sainsbury's absolutely better.
It's same here, but Sainsbury's is Woolworths and Tesco's is Coles.
You are wrong.
You think
tricked.
Tesco's is Coles?
You got tricked back
I'm
home,
sure
man.
they'd be fucking. I'm sure if we looked it up, they'd be owned by the same companies. Like Coles would be owned by
what, the global company?
Yeah,
you reckon?
I think so. The colour scheme's the same. The blue and white and yellow, you know, and the
Woolworths colour scheme is green.
Green with blue. Yellow. No, but Tesco's is blue and red and white, and Sainsbury's has got yellow and
they got orange.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the fonts are similar with Sainsbury's and Coles, I reckon.
What about Waitrose? Not Waitrose. Fuck. You know what they call Woolworth in New Zealand? Countdown. Like there's no.
They call it Countdown.
Yeah.
I don't want to shop at Countdown.
I mean, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, Woolworth doesn't make sense either. But I think it must come from like some sort of trading. Like,
sure.
You know, wool trading name or some shit like that.
That'd be like some farmers, like...
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah. But
it sounds like a name.
Countdown has I can't think of a possible reason how it makes sense.
I mean, Countdown is an objectively bad name for a supermarket. Like, what are you counting down to? Just like for the food to go stale, like it's Countdown. It's like yeah. What is it? Like with the last product left on the shelf, Countdown. Like it doesn't make sense.
Oh
what have we got?
Gosh, Woolworth own both Sainsbury's and Tesco.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why neither of them are good.
And here we are. They've pitted us against each other. They've pitted them against each other for us to fight over. And it's a lose-lose. If I go to one to fuck over the other,
Woolworth still wins. You're still shopping at Woolies.
Oh,
but that's the thing. Like
disgusting.
Coles, that's why. I mean, I think supermarkets are worse here, but I also live in an area with bad supermarkets because
they are worse here. But that's because it's a good thing and a bad thing. Like it's when globalization. I mean, I don't know too much about this shit, but like when an area gets so big that it goes back in on itself. So like
it implodes.
Not implodes, but the areas become their own area. Like the suburbs become their own areas, sort of thing. So, like London, say, gets so big that each borough becomes its own little microcosm, and then can have markets and can have like local corner shops and shit like that. Whereas Australia, it's so big and spread that you've got these big Woolworths. You got that. You don't really have markets. You don't really have corner shops anymore. You might in a certain area, but you don't for general reason. Generally,
but would you buy like groceries at a corner store here? Just like one of those.
Not a corner store, but
the farmers markets. I mean, the farmers markets.
1,000% yes.
I think that's like trickery.
No.
I mean, I like them. Don't get me wrong, but like, I just think the farmers markets here are just like, no. Like we're England, you know, like farms and.
Yeah, but that's what's like. I mean, I think the supermarket quality is so low here because there is fresh produce at farm markets and stuff like that. You know, like fruit and veg, for example. It's like,
But this is the thing. I was talking to a Canadian dude, and he reckons the produce here is better than in Canada. And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing in Canada? Yeah. They got space like us. How could it possibly?
I mean, he's got to be wrong, and it's got to be from the area he's from. Like, England is notoriously known for the worst produce in the world. The worst.
Good. Yeah. All right. This is reassuring. Thank you. Yeah. I thought it'd be like here and America would be bad because America's all the pesticides and shit. But at least their veggies would be fucking huge. Like, there's no way.
I can't remember which character it was, but in the movie Snatch, when he's like coming over to, he's like, I'm going to London, and he's like, where? And he's like, London. He's like, where? And he's like, bad food, worst fucking weather, London.
Yeah. Fish, chips, cup of tea, bad food, worst weather, Mary fucking Poppins, London.
Yeah. So it's fucking notoriously known for bad food.
Yeah.
When Bill Hicks does his that spot on Hey Hey It's Saturday, have you seen it? It's on. They're all aligned.
I've not seen Hicks on Hey Hey It's Saturday.
They're all aligned. It's pretty funny, and he'd been gigging here for ages, and he starts by saying, it's good to be here in Australia. The food here tastes different than it did in London. It's got something different about it. What do you call it? Flavour.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the I don't think the food is. I've gotten used to it a little bit, but the produce is just.
The food has gotten so much better. I came here 11 years ago, and the food was fucking horrendous, like so bad. 10 years ago, maybe. I can't remember.
10 years, yeah.
It was when I was like 18, 19, and it was so fucking bad.
And now it's improved significantly.
Well, the world's globalized, and yeah, it has got a lot better, significantly better all round. But it's still not as you become not used to it. And then you go back home or you go to New Zealand, like fruit and vegetables, just nowhere near as luscious and juicy.
But they're harder to get as well. Like, if you notice that, like even eating out, it's like to get vegetables, you got to kind of order vegetables. You're never going to sneak it in. In Australia, it's like you order something and there's just some veggies there, like a salad. Here, it's like you got to specifically be like, no, can I actually get a piece of broccoli? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Like even the Sunday roast thing, like they're like, yeah, heaps of vegetables, and it's just 3 massive potatoes. Yeah, like that's their equivalent.
Not even like
It's just like, no, man, we got these chips, we didn't cut them up for you. Here's some fucking huge potatoes.
I fucking do love a Sunday roast, though.
Oh, it's great.
I love everything about it. I love the time of day. I love
when do you go? When's your Sunday roast time?
Well, ideally, I'd say it's a cold, like starting to get good Sunday roast weather now.
Yeah, we had one last Sunday. We got in early.
Cold Sunday, hungover, shitty weather outside. Go to a good pub, few mates, bottle of red wine, about 2-3 in the afternoon.
Exactly.
And then like that's your one, maybe a small breakfast, and that's your lunch and dinner. Booze on, get home by about 6-7, and just like sort of fall asleep, like nice like that. Like
They do it well. They do that kind of day well here. Like that's what I think London is set up for.
They do going out well. They do shit like that well because they have to. Because fucking what else the fuck are you gonna do? You know they have to. Like, that's why they go to football and shit. And they fucking go out. Any city without non-coastal cities are much better for theatre anyway. Like New York, Melbourne. Here, they're much better attended. People go out because they have to.
But have you noticed like the sports here? I've noticed they do it earlier. So you can go to the sport at like 3 p.m. and be done by 5, have a couple more drinks, then you can go see a play or a movie that you can double up on the day.
I think the sports times are done due to tradition. I think they changed slightly maybe to help us sell it globally. But for example, I can't for the life of me figure out why they don't have a Friday night game when Friday night sport is very big in Australia. And it's just because traditionally people played sport Sunday mornings, Sundays, that's when they played, and they've sort of stuck to that a bit. They've pushed it back.
Do they do a Monday night? I think they do.
They do now. Yeah, it's all changed now, but I think it's stuck pretty close to tradition for a long time.
But I like that though. I'm kind of like Friday night, hey, you don't need sports tonight.
I know.
Mate, we'll fucking give you sport whenever you want sport.
I know. I like it too, but I just thought first Friday nights I was here and I had off and I was like, fuck, there must be some like Premier League or something like that, and there's no sport. Yeah, I mean sometimes there is a Friday night game now, but yeah, it wasn't.
But I kind of dig that because it's like what? So you got the regular Premier League on the Saturday, Sunday, maybe a Monday. Yeah. Then you got Champions League International Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Then your Thursday, Friday. It's like, nah, man, do something else. Like we're taking this away from you.
Oh, you can keep going. You got UEFA Cup. You got fucking Championship. I'm into the Championship this season as well. So.
That's rung below Premier League Championship.
So
have you got a season ticket? Have you committed?
Well, one of my best friends who came to Australia about 12 years ago, stayed with me for a while. Then I came back over here, stayed with him, and we went to the World Cup in Germany. We did all this cool shit. Then, so he's a Middlesbrough supporter, and when he was in Australia, he was a big Middlesbrough supporter, and I became a fan of Middlesbrough. And they had a lot of Australians playing for him. They had Mark Schwarzer. And they had Mark Viduka.
All the marks? All the good Australian marks?
Brad Jones. I think they're both keeper, like their first keeper and their second keeper were both Australian. And they had a few other Australians. And they're a good team too. I think they won some cup. They did. So yeah, Middlesbrough's my championship team. Do you have a team?
I don't have I got kind of Arsenal in the Premier League, but championship, not really. I don't feel the thing, like when you really support a team and it's close, like if they win.
Yeah, that's because you're kind of going for art. You got to pick one next season. What I recommend is pick one based on some stupid reason and just go for that, and not a top 4 team. And then like last season I went for. I mean, it kind of depends on the team as well. If they get, maybe I just had a lot. But last season I sometimes go for wherever an Australian plays. And Aaron Moore, he played for Huddersfield.
Huddersfield, yeah. What are they called? They got some weird nickname, don't they? The Huddersfield.
Oh, I'm not even sure that's how much of a supporter I am. But then
you got to really support the team. I don't know what they're called.
They had such a good season last They had such a good season.
Are they bottom of the table now?
Yeah, they're fucked. Yeah, I'm not.
Are you off the bandwagon?
Yeah,
now?
but it was only a one season thing for me. I said
You can't have a fling with a team.
I think it's more. It's like I sort of look at it as like politics almost. I'm a swinging voter. I can I'll choose the best where my morals
I
align
do
with.
not like this at all because people here get angry at you if you go for a team and you don't come from the area. Like,
yeah, but we don't come from it anyway.
Yeah, but that's like I think they.
So it's better to have double down on that realness than to fake a.
Than to fake I just love Middlesbrough.
Yeah, there'd be nothing sadder than imagine that if I was became a Manchester City supporter and was upset and happy and really, you know what I mean? It's nothing sadder.
I think the bottom end of the table is almost more exciting than the top end of the table.
Certainly is towards the end because there's more shit happening because the top end of the table, someone's already won it. Usually, and then there's only one spot you're deciding over the winner, really. But the bottom end, the bottom three get relegated, and it's usually pretty close, and it can almost swap teams at the there's
the
2 days to left, and 2 teams could cut out and get dropped in, and
the promotion system's sick. I actually really rate that promotion relegation because the other thing is the championship games I've been told are even harder to get tickets to than the Premier League when it comes to that end of the season when they might be going up, might be going down, because Wolverhampton Wolves because they knew they were going up and I was looking for a ticket, a resale. There's not a single fucking resale for a game. Because every fan is no way, this is my day. I'm seeing my team go up. This is amazing. Yeah. Which is, I mean, you've told me this before. You think the English do sport better than Australia, which as an Australian person,
Australians were sporting nuts, and it was and I like sport too. I'm not a diehard sports fan, but I like all sports, and I like watch.
Yeah, you're across a lot of games. Used to be a bit of an athlete,
but
with football.
I dislike. I dislike how diehard the sporting fans are in Australia. I mean, it happens here too, but you kind of give them a pass because it's got history in it, and it's so unusual. You can people watch a bit, like the diehard English football fans. But, I mean, it sounds fucking pompous, but hearing anyone fucking talk about AFL like it's fucking life or death, like Eddie Maguire would in Australia, it's just
But that's our game. That's
I
got
know,
history in Australia. That's
but there's people in Ireland doing the same shit about Gaelic football.
Yeah,
and
and
they're
hurling
fucking
and
weird.
shit.
Yeah, it's weird.
I like that though. I prefer that. I like when hurling. No one's ever going to play hurling apart from Ireland.
But hurling's even smaller, so you can't really do hurling. But say hurling would be fine if hurling was an Australian thing. It'd be fine. But it's almost as if the fans of AFL don't realise that there's a whole other world out there almost, and that's what's tough about it. And that's it's clear. I can break it all down with, and I don't mind AFL, but it's just if you want to look aesthetically at the sports and break it down and just go, there's no fans, nothing. Let's look at the sports aesthetically. What sport would you say is the best then? AFL. The highlights of AFL. If we got random people that had never seen sport and showed them highlights of sport, they would never like it. It'd be this is the worst. This is what the goalkeeper does in soccer, in football. This is there are no highlights. So, but don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed AFL games, and it's when they're competitive and there's a lot of people there, good atmosphere, blah, blah, blah. You can take highlights from basketball, you can take highlights from football, you can take highlights from hockey, you can take highlights from a lot of sports and show them to a random person that's never seen sport, and they would still appreciate the skill in that.
I mean, I kind of disagree with that because I've had so many people be like, you're Australian, I like your football thing, I don't understand the rules, but I like the way the game looks.
Well, because it's a novelty, they get there and it's a novelty,
But highlights, I think the highlights of AFL are right up there, but I can understand if you were watching a full game and you're like, I just don't really understand.
What highlight? Tell me the specific
The guy
example.
taking the pack mark above the big groove.
So the guy catching the ball, jumping up and catching the ball.
Yeah, but amongst other people coming off their back.
Like a goalkeeper does at a corner.
No, because the goalkeeper is the only one allowed to use his hands, so he just goes above everyone else and holds it. Whereas AFL, it's everybody's
I get it. It might be harder, but aesthetically, it just doesn't. It doesn't do it for me aesthetically. Fucking, you can't compare that to someone doing a bicycle kick from Zlatan Ibrahimovic fucking doing.
Oh yeah,
you
of course.
can't compare. It's not a. You can't compare it to Jordan dunking the ball. You can't compare it to fucking. It's not. It's chalk and cheese.
I mean, I would say that basketball has some of the grimmest. Oh, I guess the dunks are like good in basketball, but I think they've got some of the worst highlights.
The shots in themselves are cool in AFL, like because it's just like buzzer shots, fucking, like they're all cool.
The buzzer beaters in basketball,
and
yeah.
And like layups and getting around players.
Layups aren't cool. Layups are like the lamest thing.
No, but if the build up, if you get around a few players and then get it through, I mean, this is how and then they have that international Gaelic football AFL crossover.
That's a mess. That's an absolute mess. But that's just let Irish people who play their little Gaelic football that no one else plays, and Australia plays their football that no one else plays, like to just do something with it.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like the teams get a holiday, like because the Irish guys are amateurs. That's the thing. Like most of them are amateur athletes. That's why a lot of them start playing AFL because it's the only way they can make money.
Better sport over here. I mean, Australian sort of sport model's more based off the American sport model, I suppose, and we don't have the population to hold it, so it can be worse. So, like, our sports are mostly national, much like Americans,
but we have 25 million, they have 300 million.
Yes, and our sports are pretty weird. Rugby league, cricket.
I don't understand why our grounds are so big.
Our ground, maybe
because
like be multi-purpose for like every sport thing,
and concerts and everything as well. I guess
they turn into fucking athletics tracks to AFL things to like music. Yeah.
Just because you go to like those kind of county grounds for England and like they're great and small and intimate, and you're like, this is sick. And in Australia, like they just stack them on.
Yeah.
Then the US is even crazier when it's like college stadiums have like 60,000 people and you're like, fucking hell.
Well, the stadiums here are cool. I mean, I think Chelsea's getting a new stadium now, but Chelsea's stadium was so cool. Like it's like a proper old school sort of football stadium, like like a square. With benches and then I don't know the capacity. Must have been like 40, 50,000 and fucking full, but you feel so close. That's the other thing about sport in Australia. It's because it's so new. Have you been to Wembley for a match? Wembley's all right. I haven't
been to Wembley, no.
Wembley's all right, but that's the closest you come to, like, that's an Australian sporting experience. Apart from, you go to a sporting match in Australia and it's like, fucking take the day off work and the day before and the day after just to plan how to get there. And then you fucking get there 2 hours early to figure out where you're sitting and make sure you fucking emptied your fucking superannuation and fucking everything else you got so you can buy a beer.
So you can get a pie, yeah.
And a pie. So it's like the shittest food. There is absolutely no reason to go to a sports game in Australia because AFL is the only thing that could maybe keep people going, and maybe like State of Origin and cricket, because
well, the NRL's dying. Like it gets like 15,000 a game. Like,
dying live.
Low.
Yeah, but they still had more viewers, I think, than AFL last grand final. I mean, they'd rival AFL and like
really. I thought around Australia,
television views.
Are you sure? Like around Australia,
100%.
NRL's like 3 states max. AFL's every state.
NFL's also international too.
Yeah,
it's like so.
It's true. The NRL. Yeah, they played over here, but that's funny. That's like here. It's funny how they just have the NRL up north.
Yeah, like
London. I don't think London even has a team. Like they might.
I don't know.
And then like down here, it's all union.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Mate, you gotta. These are the things you gotta get on top of this stuff.
Mate, I like football. That's it. I like football. I watch any other big sporting matches. I don't mind cricket, basketball.
Yeah.
Football's where it's at for me, and I like them all.
Like them all.
I watch AFL. I watch fucking NRL. I watch that. I watch rugby union.
Watch just listing sports. You watch like
that's probably. Well, Winter Olympics, fucking, they're good. I know nothing about them, but that's a good one. And I've got into it the last few years, and a couple of my mates, it might be a stoner thing, but like a couple of mates of mine.
That's what the Winter Olympics are for, just stone people.
It's just on at fucking some weird time at night, and they just like, I think in Australia, because it's just such a farce. We've got like 3 people that are in it anyway.
And 2 of them are Canadian.
They got like Roy and HG to host the whole thing. It was just funny. It was just great. And you're like watching it. And the sports, Olympics is like, I know Olympics is, everyone talks about the holy grail of sport, but it's fucking so boring. It's so fucking, that's sport for nerds. That's like the sport event that gets the nerds out, you know? Like they're like, oh.
Yeah, I don't rate it. It's just too many sports now. Like they've opened it up pretty hard. I'm actually like, nah, just get the traditional ones in there.
Oh, but they're all like it's too inhumane. Like they all they're definitely all doping, and like if they're not, they're on like a on a fine wire where it's like we maybe are, maybe not, or like they're ahead of the curve, they're not, blah blah blah. So you just fucking, it's just weird. It's not even like
But do you reckon like the doping goes to the team sports as well? It's just like it doesn't affect it as much as the individual ones in the Olympics? Because I agree.
Russia. Have you seen the doco?
Yeah, I watched the doco.
Icarus or whatever. Yeah,
Icarus.
good,
It's just like whoa.
And then there was like the World Cup this year where it was just fucking. It was a bit bullshit how good they were. And I think the dad of like the captain came out and said he had to swap the blood for his son or some shit.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I did not follow that. I did not. I was just, I think everyone was just excited that Russia did pretty good. But yeah, it was just kind of like, they're going to go out in the group stage. Wait a second. They've gone pretty deep and they almost won against Croatia, wasn't it? No. Croatia? Is that who it took to knock them out? They made the semi-final.
Yeah.
Jesus. I guess with Russia, like it's always a bit mysterious. Like,
well, Russia and China, for me, are both two countries that are so big that I know close to nothing about. Like.
Yeah, you can't really. I think there's a nice thing about here. It's like such a small place that you kind of feel like you can get a grasp on it quite quickly.
Here,
yeah, like in the UK,
it's almost like, exactly the same as Australia too. So like, there's that as well.
You reckon it's almost exactly the same?
It was in like street signs with the same font. And fucking things are the same. Fucking.
But no, so you've come here, and was that a professional thing? Was that a personal thing? What brought you to London? Because you're a beach living, sun-soaked guy in Australia. All the stuff that makes people want to live in Australia, you loved, and then you still left. Yeah. Because I couldn't give a shit about a tan. Like I don't mind.
I don't care about a tan. Fucking come on. I do love the beach. I think I do want to move back to the beach, and I do want to move back there, and I think that's the most amazing lifestyle. But I just do it for the experience and a bit something different and stuff like that, and just travel for a bit as well. And like,
so this was a temporary thing. It was never like I might live here. This might be my thing.
No. I mean, I'm already at a point now where I am possibly going to sign with an agency that I have to sign a 5-year contract for. And that has made me have a few existential crises.
Crises.
Is that how you say the
Yeah, there you go.
Crises.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's absolutely that.
Crises is like a lot of them. Crises is that one.
What?
Oh, okay, you're probably correct.
Ray Badran again, probably correct, but just doesn't sound correct. No. So yeah, so the idea of staying here 5 years is something that's made you be like, holy shit, I don't know about that.
Yeah, because
wait, so you'd have to stay in London for the full 5 years?
I mean, I won't have a fucking ankle bracelet on, but I'd have to focus on here, but like and stay here and maybe get a few months back in Australia. I'm not sure.
Right. Wow. And that's kind of like I mean, 5 years seems like a long time. Like I think. Because if you don't know, from being from Australia and being under 31, you get a very easy visa to London for 2 years, which I think is great, but I think it should be 3. I think 3 is like the ideal length of time to kind of live in London and then be like...
I'd agree with you. 3 would be probably perfect, but the question is, if you got 3, wouldn't you be saying 4 would be the perfect amount of time? Like, are you always going to fucking waste a bit of time when you get it?
Well, I think you just, the first year is kind of like faffing around and you're figuring it out. And there's like 2 years of like living it. And then you get to go back home for a bit and just all the stuff like, Sydney. I mean, I can't speak for anywhere else in Australia because I've only lived in Sydney, but it's a nice lifestyle as a place.
It's fantastic. I can't think of a better lifestyle, as in balanced lifestyle, as in all round. I mean, it's gotten touch too expensive to make it balanced. But as far as like nature and health and like, work and play, like it's all kind of, it's quite good. Like London's just go. Even the people in this fucking city, they know it's not permanent. They're always talking about. I've never heard people talk about where they want to retire before till I came here, and then now they all do it here because it's a transient city. I suppose the only people that live here permanently are fucking multi-millionaires.
Yeah, multi-millionaires, heads of company, and then like the other thing is like very low, like kind of. Like lower class people as well, like working class people, because they'd be here the whole time because they're like, my business, I can really only sustain that in London. So it's kind of weird. It's the middle. It's the middle that keep leaving.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the extremities that start. Yeah, totally.
For sure.
Totally.
No, because
And that's your sausage theory there.
The
That's
sausage
the sausage theory. That's who they're marketing to, the extremities. And you're getting the fucking...
you're eating the top sausage, I'm eating the bottom sausage. Who knew? I didn't realize I was eating working class sausages.
Yeah.
Just got tears in them. You know, people are like, fuck, it's hard here. This is one thing, like, because Sydney, this is weird, because you come to London and everyone's like, it's so expensive. Don't you find it expensive? Isn't it crazy how expensive it is?
Yeah.
And if you're from Sydney, you're just like, fuck off. It's the same.
Well, when I came here 10 years ago, 11 years, it was fucking expensive. It was like...
But was that because you weren't earning money in pounds?
No, just the exchange rate and everything. It was 2.5 times.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, but now you're
insane.
earning money in pounds. You're just like, I mean,
now
it's
the
same.
exchange rate's the same, and it's relative. London's always been known as a notoriously expensive city, and yes, Sydney's more expensive than it now.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Because it's funny, because people are just like, oh man, it must be crazy. And I'm like, I don't think you realize how expensive Sydney is.
Cost of living is more expensive in Sydney, like as in your rent and your bills and shit like that is more expensive. But then lifestyle is less expensive. Like I use the beer analogy. I might have even told you this before.
The beer analogy? Go for it.
A beer in Tesco, beer in the supermarket's like 90p.
Tesco, owned by Woolworths, don't forget.
90p from the you maybe even get it cheaper, you know.
For 500 mils of beer.
Just a bottle of beer.
Oh, just a bottle, okay.
It doesn't need to be a specific beer. And then you go to a pub and you buy that same specific beer and you could be paying like £7, £8. And that price difference is bigger than I've ever seen anywhere else in the world ever. Like, so for example, if you went out in Australia and you bought that bottle of beer from a supermarket, it'd be like $3, and you went out and had a beer, it'd be like $6. And here it goes from like fucking 90p to fucking £7, you know, and it's such a big, and so it's part of the high end and the low end only experiencing it, and it's part of the class system, and it's part of all that fucking shit. So to have disposable income in this city, it can go pretty quickly. Your disposable income can go quicker than in Sydney.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had to put money aside in either city. So, like, the idea of someone living here and going out at all, because as you said, like, the going out cost is, like, crazy, like, and then saving money, I'm like, I don't know how that works.
No.
I don't understand. No. But it's just weird. Does it make you want to live in a city that isn't expensive? Like... Just have you like been to Manchester and just like heard people talk about the rent, or like you'd go to like Brisbane?
Go any further up north. I could never go up any further.
What about Australia? What about somewhere else in Australia? Like even Melbourne,
really, no.
even Melbourne's cheaper than Sydney. It's like close.
I mean, look,
but...
financially, if you take finances out of the way and all that shit, then you may as well. And you're going to do this, you may as well go live in Vienna or whatever. I think Vienna was the most livable city in the world.
Vienna was number one.
Yeah, Melbourne dropped off to number 2 because of like crime or some shit, and then the government were using it about these African gangs. Anyway, I don't know.
Oh man, Australia's hilarious. The way that like Australia worries about crime is hilarious to me, because like it just here they would not even make the news. Like it just wouldn't even be a thing. Whereas in Australia, it's like we're going to run this for a week, so everyone knows that there is the possibility of crime in this city.
There's just not enough fucking shit happening, I suppose. But yeah, I wouldn't live in Melbourne. Now, if I'm going to live in Australia, only Sydney. If I'm going to live in Australia and take the advantages of Australia, which I see as the beach and the lifestyle and the weather, then you kind of lose a bit of that in Melbourne. I'd live here before I live in Melbourne.
Live here before I live in Melbourne?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. But like,
I do like Melbourne. I do like it, and I'd love to stay there for a prolonged period of time, like a year or something like that, if I got a job there or something. But I wouldn't. You know, if I'm going to live in Australia, I may as well live on. Sydney on the coast, where
your family's at and stuff.
Family down in Wollongong.
Down in Wollongong. Yeah. What? Tell us about Wollongong. Would you ever live in Wollongong?
I would. As I've gotten older, I've got a bit of a nostalgic.
Well, you got your little childhood. Like, that was a nice place.
That was nice, but like Wollongong,
was comfortable.
Wollongong is genuinely a really nice city, and like coming over here, like, you know, it takes so fucking long. You can be living in the city and it still takes like 45 minutes to get somewhere else in the city, or maybe in an hour. I'm talking like zone 2 to zone 2.
If you're going across London, like top to bottom, east to west, not far out, just to cross. You just got to get through the middle, and that'll take 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I got a theory in London. If you live in zone 2, wherever you go, it takes about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like even if it's close, even if it's far, it's about 45.
Yeah.
That's a safe bet.
Well, I've got, so Wollongong's only an hour and a bit from Sydney. I could, that it's only going to get sort of quicker and slower. I suppose maybe driving will get slower as more traffic and cars get on the road, but public transport will get quicker. And it's fucking a beautiful city. It's just on the water with unbelievable beaches, and yeah, it's quite cheap. And
it's quite cheap in the Wollongong. Yeah, but like what?
I mean, work's the hardest thing. Like it depends. If I had a job that I could.
Yeah, we got to kind of chase it a bit.
If I don't like big cities in general. I'd love to live.
You don't like big cities?
Well, I like the options that big cities give you. Like you can eat whatever food you want and stuff like that. But fucking no.
What do you mean eat whatever food? Anywhere these days, pretty much you can eat whatever food you want. I've been to country towns in Australia that have like African cuisine, even though there's no Africans.
That's insane. You can't go to Bermagui in Australia, which has got one coffee shop, a pub, and one restaurant, two restaurants.
What are the two restaurants? One of them Chinese restaurants?
An Italian and a Chinese.
Yeah, of course. Those are your starting points for any restaurant.
You can go in Sydney, Melbourne, London, any time of the night. I can open up my phone and get any cuisine in the world delivered to my house. You can't do that in most cities in the world. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, you just like things being delivered. I think. From what I know of Ray Badran, he wants to be able to sit at home and have it brought to him.
It's a marvel of the modern world, really, that we can get. I can get fucking. 100 years ago, you'd have to go to that actual country to get the cuisine, and now I can get it in my house like that. So
you don't have to go downstairs; they'll bring it up.
So,
do you tip?
I don't tip. I do. I mean, in general, with the
Uber, I always think the tip on the Uber is like I don't know the etiquette there. Is it like if they're really good, but how do they be really
Uber
good?
Drivers, no, fuck that for the drivers. No, sorry, but I will. I'll Deliveroo. I will. Sometimes.
Why Deliveroo, not Uber? Is there like a
Uber
difference?
just feels like a fucking evil company, They should be fucking tipping them, not me.
Deliveroo are fine. Is this like some like inner Australian patriotism?
I've got an idea for Deliveroo that they've never they should do this. They wouldn't do it because they don't care about the workers, but change it to called Tipperoo. Everyone will be leaving $1, £1. Tipperoo.
What? But you need to know as for delivery. What? Tipperoo?
No. Deliveroo's still there, but then at the end it's like, would you like to do a Tipperoo? And you'd laugh. So you have a little chuckle there, and you go, yeah, I'll fucking have a little Tipperoo. Why not?
I'll have a Tipperoo for the Deliveroo.
Then yeah, so
this is that Australian sense of humour.
A little difference like that. A little difference like giving him a Tipperoo would make a lot more tips. I guarantee it would. I think the go back to brands and go back to Australia. I don't know how we're going for time, but
we're doing great.
We're having
a good chat.
Go back to the beginning. The Natural Confectionery Company.
It's true. Natural Confectionery Company jellies.
I remember being at school and learning about in business studies, I can't remember what they were called beforehand. It must have been like Sunrise Lollies or some shit like that.
Sunrise Lollies.
Or something like this, right?
Yeah.
And they changed their name to the Natural Confectionery Company and became the most popular brand in Australia from just a name change.
Yeah, it's genius. It makes you think that it's
that's
healthy.
What Tipperoo comes from. Tipperoo, it's fun. It's fun. What is tipping? Tipping is an act of generosity, kindness, open heart, feeling good, happiness. What does Tipperoo embody? All of that. It's the chocolate bar's name. Tipperoo evokes these emotions, and you think, you know what? You have a little laugh. You think, you know what? I'm going to be a good person. Here you go.
Give them a little Tipperoo. I mean, I agree. Like here, they do that mandatory service charge, and I hate that.
That's fucking bullshit.
Because like service charge, you're like, fuck you. Isn't that the food cost? Like,
I mean, it's different.
Service charge.
Here though, the hospitality people get paid so fucking little that you're kind of like, all right.
But this is the thing. They get paid so little, and everybody says that, and everybody knows that. But in the States, they get paid even less, so everybody tips. Whereas here, it's just like this middle ground where no one's happy. They're getting paid fuck all. You don't want to tip them because it still costs, X amount.
Yeah.
I think they've really broken the system here. Yeah. I think they've done it poorly. Like, I think Australia's got it good. Like, we just pay the wage good, and you leave a little tip, and it's fine.
Maybe, but Australia, I don't know.
Well, you think the service is better here than in Australia?
Oh, definitely not. What? Definitely not.
Yeah,
definitely not. I'm definitely with you, but like, as far as taxes go and tipping and all that shit in Australia, I don't really understand it. And stuff.
Well, just tipping, you just...
Well, tipping's almost mandatory at fine dining restaurants in Australia, say, for example. Or, like, not fine dining, maybe, but, like, fine dining.
Fine dining, you would, yeah. You'd expect it to.
So, it's like, it's fucking stupid, like, and now you're paying extra, like, on it, to the people that need it the least.
Because the fine dining waiters, yeah.
And so it's somehow worked against them. You know what I mean? Like the system somehow made the rich richer and the poor poorer.
Yeah. Well, the tipping thing in Australia is just like no one really knows, but there's just like a strong social convention one way, and as you said, your way. It's like it's not for the people who actually need it.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe that's even it. Like nobody really knows. Like the tipping culture, no one really knows, so everyone's unsure. But in a fine dining restaurant, you feel like I better do the right thing and tip.
Yeah,
but you're more than happy not to give a fuck about paying the other cunts.
But it makes no sense because you go into the
part of my language.
No, because it makes no sense because you go to the fine dining place once.
Yeah,
like probably like you're never going back. Fuck them. You know what I mean? What are they going to do? Spit in your food retroactively? Whereas the other place, you go there all the time. They're your mate, and you're not tipping them.
Yeah.
And they resent you for it.
Yeah.
But then, like, it's just kind of awkward, though, because if you tip at a place where you go regularly, then it's like, well, I got to tip every time. And then you just stop going to the place, and that's even worse for their business. I definitely do that. I've definitely stopped going to several cafes because the owner will start talking to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to get out of here.
Well, we had a cafe near me once when I lived in Sydney in Clovelly, and it was opened up. It was like a small area. It's quite a small area.
Yeah, it's like
it's a residential.
It's like what, one beach, but like it's like a small beach.
It's like a bay, but like that's one road, pretty much. It's pretty much like 3 streets and one long road. But like on this one long road, and it's developed a lot in the 7.5 years that I lived there. But there was a coffee shop that opened up near me, and we knew the guy. He worked in another cafe, and he started up his own cafe there. And he was trying his best. He had pretty good quality coffee, some okay food. Sometimes go there, have a coffee, have something to eat. And he was just trying to start the business, so he was really kind to myself and my partner and a few of our friends. He'd throw in stuff for free. He'd let me fucking, if I forgot my wallet, just run up a tab and then come back and pay. But then, after about a couple of months of going to this place pretty religiously, becoming friends with this guy, almost on the ground floor with him, helping him start his business and get people into it in the area, this fucking 10 out of 10 coffee shop just opens up around the corner. Like, so good.
Wait, so you tried the other one? You
well,
had a nibble at the other one?
One day he was shut. That was first I went there and decided to go there, and I had a sip of this coffee, and it was so good. This coffee, it was just so good. It was life changing. It had length. Like you had a sip, and it warmed the chest for about 30 seconds afterwards.
Worried about sounding pompous before. They're just like, it was a life changing coffee. This coffee changed everything for me.
Well, I meant that in a less pompous way, in the sense that maybe my palate wasn't good enough, and I hadn't anyway. So we had to go.
You had to switch. You had to affect the switch.
But yeah, we'd have to instead of like it being a 3-minute walk to get to this other coffee shop, we had to make it like a 15-minute walk to walk around like back streets and shit. So this guy couldn't.
So you actually avoided him. You put the effort.
And then a couple of times he saw us in the other one, and then he shut down not too long afterwards.
And then you moved.
Well, no,
to London. You just got out of there. This is too awkward.
Yeah, I didn't move because of him.
Want to make that clear.
This happened years ago.
Yeah. Oh man, that's intense. I don't know. Do you find Do you have any idea where the Australian thing with coffee came from?
I don't, but I have thought about it a bit more, and I think it's due to climate. Bit of climate, maybe Italian people and like our European influx of Europeans, but certainly a climate thing makes the cafe culture. Well, weirdly enough, is New Zealand. New Zealand's like one of the. I think Wellington, New Zealand, is maybe the coffee capital of the world, or was the coffee capital of the world.
Really?
Yeah. So like they've got an insane amount of, and Wellington has the highest amount of cafes per person in the world, and the cafes are 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. It's like they're so good. They're so good.
Wellington, that'd be cold, right? That'd be. Is New Zealand the same climate as here? That's what I picture. I've never been.
Sim, a bit better than here, but yeah, it's not too different. Yeah.
Okay, and just like doesn't that confuse you? It's just like we're all over the other side of the world, where the fucking Antipodes, as the idiots over here say.
Antipodes are South Africa as well. I thought it was just Australia and New Zealand.
What? They include South Africa in the Antipodes.
Yeah.
Did you look it up? Did you know?
Yeah, I did.
Because I did the same thing.
Someone told me it concludes
Yeah.
South Africa, and I said bullshit, and they were like, yeah, and then
Because you've never heard that word before you lived here, right? Like,
Antipodean, no.
yeah, just like, yeah, the Antipodeans. And you're like, what? And like, we mean you. And you're like,
I don't
what?
even know what it means. What's a Padean?
It means the opposite side of the world. That's like the literal translation.
Padeans are
So if you-
is a bit of land, is it, or something like
I
that?
guess
Latin.
so. Yeah,
Or-
probably like that. But like, yeah, it just literally means like
Well,
the
then
place on
it
the
should
direct
be
opposite side of the world.
It should be
But that's the thing, it doesn't line up. Like I looked it up and like a bit of Scotland or something gets a bit of New Zealand. Like Australia's not even touched. Like we're not the opposite. And South
What?
Africa would be miles away.
Oh, they call Scotland New Zealand, or they call New Zealand Scotland. The Scotland of the South or some shit.
Scotland to the south.
Yeah. So,
What?
Yeah.
So we're New South Wales, like the state
Well,
of
no, Scotland's like there's so many similarities though, like just their landscape and stuff like that. But like even their, so I like oysters, love oysters, right? And I went to
Everything about you is like a fancy guy from like 70 years ago. Like that's your taste.
Well, I'm not fancy, so I hope that doesn't sound. But like I went to so New Zealand are famous for their bluff oysters. They only grow a certain time of year. And
Bluff oysters.
Yeah, and
okay.
notoriously known as the best oysters in the world.
I'll put a little link up
And
on the
then
thing for bluff oysters. I want people to know.
I mean, they sell out every year. They only harvest for a certain amount of time. Bluff oyster season, I think it's around like early in the year, and they can't supply enough for the demand. And then, but there's also Stewart Island oysters there, which are fucking unbelievable too. Anyway, I went to I get on these Ryanair, EasyJet, fucking all those things, those cheap flights. Try to go away every couple of weekends or whatever, or whenever I got a weekend free. And
Yeah, you're taking advantage of the location. Like I haven't really been anywhere,
no,
but you're going
you
all
gotta
the
have
time.
get your partner on it, and it's so good, man. You just got to do it. Go now and go. I'm going to buy a £9.99 flight in fucking 3 months' time for a weekend, and you just buy fucking two £10 flights for the weekend and just do it. Like it's fucking. You go. Anyway, went to La Rochelle on the west coast of France, and it is their holiday destination. It's their
The French holiday destination,
It's where
the French
they
people
go on
go.
holidays.
Okay,
yeah. And it's known for their seafood.
oysters or just
And-
more generally.
Everything in general, but also oysters. And I was like, and they're going on about how it's known for their seafood. And I was like, I wonder if they got good oysters. So I type in best oysters in the world. Number 1, New Zealand. Number 2, La Rochelle.
Okay.
Number 3, Scotland. Number 4, Australia.
Wait,
Number
Scotland
5
has oysters?
Yeah, so Scotland have a really rich sort of seafood
Oh man.
cuisine. And that's why so these are some more similarities between
Yeah. Okay.
number 4 Australia, and maybe Ireland were in there as well, and maybe somewhere.
Man, you're making a strong case. I did not realize
I
oysters
mean,
had
look at
this
this.
thing,
It's you just type in best oysters in the world,
and
and
they
it
pop
comes,
up.
It comes up. It doesn't even. You don't even have to click on a link. Google's already put it in a little thing. That's how much it must be fucking.
That's how much you've googled it. What? Ray just inhaled like the most surprising thing ever has happened. What's gone on, mate? During this
I've
oyster
just found
Google
another
search.
link.
What have you got?
But like, here we go. So New Zealand's number 1 on this one. Number 2, you got. Oh, this is one of those stupid ones where you have to fucking press each page to go to the next one. Fuck off! I'm not going past number 1.
That is straight up trickery. I did not appreciate.
I thought that was dead, like that kind of marketing.
No,
that
dude,
kind of
they
scam
they
artist.
get me in as well because it's just like you'll never imagine what this Friends person's doing now, and you're like, fuck yeah, I do want to see what Matthew Perry's doing now.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I hate how well marketing websites can trick you. Like it really concerns me because
What do you mean?
I'm easily tricked. You know, like you're
still clicking on the.
I'm
fucking,
still clicking.
I'm winning $1 million on the 12th person.
not
on this
quite
site.
not on the scam thing, but just like the marketing. It's just like, yeah, look, you got me.
Yeah.
I agree. Like I'm a fool like that. I think.
Well, sometimes I will reward marketing. Like I'll just reward it. I'll go like I like the World Cup so much. I was like, I'm going to drink Heineken just because. You know?
Just because the World Cup was so good, you're like, I'll drink your beer. Fine.
Well, yeah, you're doing a good job. You're sponsoring the people I like.
Oh,
And
Heineken is brutal as well. Oh, it's not a nice drop.
I'm not a beer man. Like I mean, I drink beer, but I don't know well enough. I don't know. I worked in a wine place for 2 years, so I know I mean, a year and a bit. And I know.
You're on top of your wine.
We did wine tasting every day.
Every day?
Yeah, every day a different place, and like 8 different wines. So lunchtime every day, and then so over that time, like when you first drink coffee, you kind of just having coffee is like a renewable energy source, and then when you've got fucking when you've got your cafe around the corner, your good cafe around the corner, you might have a couple or whatever, and you go to the same one and you get the same thing. Then you go to a different cafe, you can taste the difference, Then you go to another cafe and you can taste the difference. Then you have a real good coffee and you're like, oh, a strong coffee.
Wait a second. This is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so...
The life-changing coffee.
Well, before I worked at this wine place, I just knew of red and white wine, and you just went through life getting red or white wine, whatever, and maybe I'd go for dinner with a wine person and then tell me what wine went well with the food and I'd get that.
Do you think that's like an Australian thing, like a working knowledge of wine? I've heard people say that, like, you're Australian, you must know wine.
Well, Australians are pretty big with wine, yeah.
Well, we produce a lot, like, especially compared to here, but I wouldn't say that...
To London, yes. To England.
To England, yeah.
Europe.
Not Europe, obviously. But Australia
they
still produces the most, I think. It's something crazy. My dad's into wine, that's why.
Yeah, right. But Australian wine's nowhere near as good as this wine, and it's because of the age of the vines. You can't really...
You can't fake that.
You can't fake it, and then
But the price point in London for wine is quite high, I think. Compared to Australia, and then compared to Europe,
wine, though,
like red. I think you're paying overs here, like for the quality.
Not for like Rioja and not for Spanish and Italian. You've got to buy local. That's what you got to do. So you never buy European wines in Australia because they've got like a big
they're insane because you got to get them out there.
The shitty Australian wines that are here in the shops, they're so expensive and they're shit.
Yeah, of course. It's like our bottom wines are like, no, check out this wine all the way from Australia. It's like, all the way from the fucking bottom shelf of Australia, dude. Yeah, it's trickery.
But I have, so I've developed a palate for wine, but not beer. And over the last 5 years or so, maybe the beer explosion, sort of with craft beer and all that, sort of made it much more popular. But I've got mates that have always been into it. Like I remember, like 7, 8 years, or even up to 10 years ago, like be with mates, certain types of mates, and order a beer at a fucking bar and. They'd tell me I wasn't allowed to get it because some fucking manufacturer, you can't have that beer. No, they make this and that. And I'll be like, fucking just get the beer.
Just give me the beer. No, that I don't like craft beer. I got to say, I don't know. Do you get into it? I
don't even know what the fuck it is, to be honest with you. Like, there's so many. They're like, these are the craft beers, these are the regular beers, and they're there. And I'm just like, whatever. Just give me a beer. Give me a Heineken. A cold beer.
For the World Cup.
Oh, fuck it. A Heineken's good. Like, I don't understand. Like, that's getting into the wank because it does not taste any different to fucking a regular beer.
I'm sorry, it absolutely does. I can taste that. I mean, I don't really know the thing where it's like lagers and ales and stuff and all that shit.
I know. That's simple.
I just know that I like ale.
Ale's the English one. Oh, yucky.
Not like the English ale that they pump and all that shit.
That's what the warm beer is. That's what warm beer is.
Not that one, like the IPA. Like I want a pale ale. I want something like that.
Well, that's crafty, isn't it? That's hipster fucking bullshit.
I don't think that you can get like because Cooper's is pale ale.
Yeah.
But then like also like Brewdog Punk IPA, like that comes in the tiny can and it's got cool branding and you're like, well, this has to be a craft beer. I think it's mainly the can. Like you can tell a craft beer by the can. Like if it looks like a wall in Shoreditch, like one of those graffiti walls, it's a craft beer.
Yeah.
Whereas like a regular old beer is just like a color and then the word.
Well, that's hipster culture in general, really, because like before the colourful can got popular, it would have been a retro thing like let's drink beer out of a can again, and it would have been fucking cool. And you just like everyone.
Yeah, tinnies. That was the whole tinny thing.
And then they've popularised that. But that's what hipster culture is. It's like a cafe that opened and goes, we don't have any money, but we love it coffee. We love coffee. So just sit on these milk crates and we'll serve you the best coffee you've ever had in your life because we can't afford furniture and we can't afford fucking a good place. But we're going to I'll do it up as well as I can. I'll make the best coffee for you. That was how it started, and that's great. And then now there's places trying to be that. They'll rent out a place, they'll make the furniture shit, they'll stick a bike to the wall, they'll fucking give you average coffee, and you've got to pay $8. And you're like, what the fuck? You can't have it both ways. Like before,
because they're trying to seem like they only care about the coffee. Because it's just like that's the
they're
trick.
Just they're buying into the fucking current fucking module of what it is.
But I think I don't know if the hipster thing is going to end anytime soon, bro. Like
it already is. That's on it's already past its downhill.
What you think? You walking around London, you walking around Sydney, thinking hipsters are going down. You seen how many barber shops keep opening?
Well, I think you're confusing two things really. The hipster culture's gone. It's in where
Well, like the
you were
authentic.
you were a hipster
Right.
and stuff like that. Things will always be trendy and cool and modern and stuff like that, and evolving like that. But certainly it's not exciting to get your fucking drink in a jar now. You know, like it's
No, not at all.
exciting.
But
Yeah.
like, I just think it's still.
Beards are off, like that stuff like that. So that
still-
hipster culture, that actual hipster thing itself, is gone.
Yeah, but the
I mean,
brand.
it probably hit its peak about fucking 5 years ago in Australia, 3-4 years ago in Australia. So
But like the branding's still there, and the cafe thing, and the like serve your food on a wooden board, and like all that
only
shit.
only just there. Much like fine dining with big plates and small dishes, how that went.
Yeah.
It's pretty much gone.
It's
It's
gone?
It's on its way out.
You got a prediction for what's coming next? Do you think London will predict Australia? I think it probably will. I think we'll go back.
In
and
some things, in coffee, it certainly doesn't. So you go to a hipster coffee place here, and even using the word hipster is outdated. Fucking fuck. You go to a trendy coffee place here, and it feels like a coffee place from Australia from about 3 years ago.
yeah,
So
definitely.
it depends on what it's at. But then you go to like bars and shit and cocktails, and like I remember when I first came over here, and I was like fucking everyone was doing was drinking Aperol spritzers, and I was like they're fucking everywhere. And I'm like, where is Aperol from? And then it's Italian cocktail, and I was like,
Yeah.
and I flew back to Australia, and I'd seen it in Australia once or twice, but then it was everywhere in Australia too, like bus billboards and all that shit.
Yeah. No, it's all the drinks go through trends. Like the espresso martini as well is like kind of had a little comeback, and now it's
Yeah.
kind of dying again. Thank God.
They say
I'm happy to let it go.
Oh no, espresso martini's delicious. Cocktails is something that's very much appreciated over here, and I do like a good cocktail. I fucking love a good cocktail. You dislike cocktails altogether?
No, I don't dislike cocktails altogether. I just like,
If you're gonna drink alcohol, you're gonna go there. You may as well make them work for your money. That's what I say. Like you may as well fucking get something.
I just can't stand the wait. I'm like my
wait.
impatience. I think my impatience and just disinterest means I'm drinking beer 90% of the time.
Man,
I don't want to look at a list. I just want to point at a thing and be like that.
I've gone to cocktail bars and like here some of the fucking some really swanky ones, and I think I told you about one I went to, and they just ordered they just took my order by mood, not even like what, you know, they did it like
What mood are you in?
they did it like a personality test on me, and they got me the best drink. He was like, yeah, so how you feel today? What do you? And then I was like, yeah, all right.
And what was it good?
Fucking delicious, just like that chicken nimbin. Oh no, that was a conversation we had off the podcast. But yeah,
Apparently Ray's tastes are very predictable. That's what we figured out
no, I'm
today.
not predictable. I think
I mean, but surely the
I
guy
think I
just
might-
gives you the personality test that just makes you the same cocktail they make everybody.
no, it's like fucking.
You're buying into it. You're buying into like the
it's like
personality
Facebook,
quiz.
It's the Facebook quiz. What Simpsons character
Exactly,
are you?
yeah.
That's what he's doing. What cocktail are you?
Bart Simpson.
I get my cocktail. I've learnt a new drink. I've had an experience, and I've tasted new flavors. I get a beer. It's just fucking medicine, really, to
Just medicine.
fucking numb the pain. I don't know.
Oh look, I think that's where we're gonna leave it.
No, I don't.
No, beer's
I need
medicine to numb the pain.
What's your favourite cocktail? I'll leave it on
Probably like an
something
old
uplifting.
fashioned.
Oh yeah, that's nice, but I'm talking like fucking one that's gonna make you stand out.
Well, this
Big
is,
flowers in it and shit.
this is the thing. I just don't. It doesn't do it for me. It's just
what
not my
about your
thing.
holidays? Fucking
When I was on holidays in Thailand, I'd only drink a strawberry daiquiri.
there you
that was
fucking
the
go. There you
only
go.
drink I'd ever
saying
get.
it doesn't do it for me. That's kind of like saying you don't get into a genre of music or say, you know, like I can't do that. Like
I just
you know,
don't get into it. Yeah.
yeah, but
There
you
are
have to.
genres.
You have to. You have
All
to.
right, if you're-
due to the hypothetical question,
Okay,
you know, like
sorry.
I'm not making you drink every cocktail in front of me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Which one are you getting into? Tell me. No, yeah. I did that in Thailand because I thought it was funny.
It
Just
is
every
fucking funny.
drink,
and
every
I
hour of the
rate
day.
it and back yourself on that answer. You know, you tell people wear the fucking strawberry daiquiri shirt loud and proud.
What about you? You want to be asked? Come on.
I don't want to be asked. Actually, I wanted you to fucking get involved in the whole cocktail situation. But
This is the
I
thing.
mean, old fashioned would be my go-to. Negroni is very good too. But I mean, I'll preface this by saying I came into the whole cocktail game not liking cocktails, disliking cocktails a lot.
And you've been
Thinking it was a
swayed.
wank.
You've been
Well,
swayed on the cocktail.
Now all I want is fucking something that's served out of a shoe and set on fire. You know?
So that was my chat with Ray Badran from Wollongong, now London resident, thinking about sticking on for a little bit longer in the UK. Don't know how long. Doesn't want to stay forever. Pretty common theme of people who do live in the UK now. They're like, look, I got his exit strategy. As he said, most people who go to London do not plan to be there forever. They want to make their bit and get out to somewhere more chill. And Ray is no exception, because that man, as you probably figured out, because he knows a lot about wine, a lot about oysters, and a lot about hanging out, he is a pleasure chaser. And London is not the kind of city where you want to hang out if you're chasing that pleasure around the place. But I thought it was a good chat, man. I thought, the thing with Ray is, like, there is no one better to sweat the small stuff with, right? That guy's like every episode of Seinfeld. He breaks it down. How many people go to another country and notice the font? That's like the level of analysis he's bringing. He's like, yeah, how can you say the different things? Look, they got the same font for this and that. They got the same setup. But yeah, that was my chat with Ray. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're gonna have a few more Australians on the podcast just while I'm in Australia. Yeah, that's right. I'm back in Sydney. Still adjusting, but I've already driven 10 hours since I've been back. 2 to Newcastle and back, and then 3 to Canberra and back, and then I got another 10 on Thursday when I'm driving up to Brisbane to do a few shows at the Sit Down Comedy Club. So if you know anyone in Brisbane, or if you're from Brisbane, turn up, say hello. Otherwise, please do get in touch with me if there's anything you'd like me to discuss. Any first impressions. I'm back in Australia. Get involved, and of course I got my show at the Giant Dwarf in Sydney on November 8th. So if you want to get involved in that, or tell a friend to come along, or buy a ticket, that's all on my website, www.danielmuggleton.com. Just a quick little goodbye on this one, because I'm tired, man. I'm still jet lagged. 22 hours. It hits you somewhere, but don't worry. I'll be back next Monday with another Australian talking about the Union Jack-Off. Cheers, guys. Thanks for listening, and I'll chat to you soon.